All right. Hello. Hope everybody's having a good day. Yeah, this is always my favorite session because it was such a game changer in my business. So I'm glad that you're here, whether you're live or catching it on the replay. Both are going to give you an equal amount of amazing knowledge. And if you hang around till the end, I'm going to send you one very special template that was a game changer in transforming my conversions at the conclusion of a discovery call, right? So you definitely want to stick around to that. And we're going to jump in today to the main topic, which is packaging, positioning, and pricing. Just a reminder for everyone who completes the homework. So if you're catching up on this on the replays or you're here live, out in the Facebook group, Harmony and Hustle, which you can join, or it's in the newsletters that we send out every day with the recordings. There is the opportunity for you to win a $500 very detailed SEO, competitive, and keyword audit for one lucky person. And we're going to do it live next Wednesday. So we'll put you on the spot and we'll take a look at what you're doing, but also show you where you have opportunity to grow. We actually did 2 of those sessions just this morning with different people. That one was in Dubai and one was over in Singapore. And they were just really amazing sessions because it's eye-opening for people. And the one comment that stuck out to me was, I'm not doing as bad as I thought. Right? Which I thought was really interesting. And just last night in the Harmony and Hustle group, I posted something that said, tell me someone in business or in your niche, right, that you envy, right? And there's going to be a purpose to the post. It's not just like, oh, I envy Courtney and that's great, right? That's not the intention for it. I have enough confidence in what I do and the quality of my product, but it is meant with a very specific lesson. So if you haven't done that yet, I advise you to go out and take a minute to think about who you envy and why, and put it out in the comments. So that's not homework, but it's something that's going to get you thinking once I tell you the other side of it. So you've got to jump out for that as well as the homework. But we're going to dive in today to packaging, positioning, and pricing. And I thought I would do things a little bit different today than you just staring at my face for an hour, which is actually take you into the lab. Okay. Now, what does that mean? I've pulled out a lesson from the lab that I share with you. So I want you to understand what it actually looks like in getting coached in the lab, right? So what I did was I pulled out some slides and I teach the lesson on pricing, packaging, and positioning because I want people to understand here, just as a part of Level Up Lead Gen, what the quality and caliber of the coaching that I provide in the lab is, but also because this lesson is really important. And so many of you have done this the wrong way. Sorry. That you can make so much more money. You can have conversions come easier. You can build value. You can convert and close and live the life that you started this business for. And it's not overly complicated, right? So that's what we're going to focus on today. So I invite you to jump in with me. I'm going to pull some slides up and take you through a little bit of the philosophy on packaging and positioning. And if you have any questions during this, because this one always garners a lot of questions, pop them in the chat. I'm going to pull out the workbook here so that you have your trusty workbook for today's session. And we're going to dive right in because there's a lot of goodness today. Always my favorite. I just created a new package in the sleep coaching world called the Midnight Creeper. I'll tell you, I probably sell more clients in the sleep coaching side of my business because they love the names of my packages, because it adds a little bit of levity to the fact that you're exhausted, strung out, and your kid sucks at sleeping, right? So for that side of my business, it is always so interesting, to have people, want to buy the dumpster fire or want to buy the Midnight Creeper, which is like one of the newer packages we introduced. I've got, so many funny names, but I do it for a little bit of levity, right? Some people, gold, silver, bronze, level 1, level 2, level 3. That's fine, but you're going to see after I talk about this why that's not how I would ever position my packages, because there is some aspects of human behavior, my friends, when you're trying to close a client based on the services you offer and the results that you're hoping to gain. Remember, people buy for the value in their mind of what they need, right? People don't generally buy what they necessarily need. They buy what they want, right? And so I try to flip this philosophy a little bit for you and help you take a look into your packages. It doesn't matter if you're a home inspector, a physical fitness trainer, a sleep coach, right? The perspective of what you're looking at is also meeting clients where they are in the current economy for the specific geographical area that you live in, right? Not all packages are created equal on a global standpoint, but you've got to figure out how to build your packages, position them properly for that audience, okay? And then price them accordingly for what you're getting. I see too many consultants that give away way too much stuff. Okay, so we're going to jump on in. First and foremost, you're going to start when we finish today with step one here, audit and assessment, because I'm going to jump in and share my screen in a minute and go through some slides like I would take you through in the lab in one of the modules on packaging, positioning, and pricing. But first, you got to figure out, how did you price your packages? I'll tell you how most of you did it. You went to Google, you typed in same person as me, near me. So sleep coach near me, contractor near me, stucco specialist near me, whatever it is. And you went, what are they selling? Okay, well, let me price them like kind of near, a little bit close. There's 2 sleep consultants in Philly where I live. 2 of them have been doing it about 2 years longer than me. They were kind of the original sleep consultants. And it was funny because they would say like, hey, you changed your packages. Like, we want to change our packages. Don't change your package. She needs to change her package, right? And so it was kind of the 3 of us always joking because I would raise my prices and easily sell because the value of what I was offering was there. And then they would quickly, like a month later, like jump up, right? So it was like sort of this leapfrog thing. And we had a little bit of an ongoing joke about it because you have to figure out in your offerings what's missing. A lot of people sell one package. For years, one of the first people that joined the lab, and I won't say her name just out of professionalism, she sold one thing. Well, you know what you limit your people to buying? One thing, right? When I first offered the lab, I offered one thing, right? Which was 6 months of coaching, group, lab is amazing. Like 30 people were in it. It was awesome, right? After that first session, because it was the first time I had done the lab, during those 6 months, people were like, hey, can I like book one-on-one time with you? I really need your help with this thing. I need strategic support with this. Can you build my website for me? Like, all these questions started coming out of the woodwork just from the fact that this was the only package of the lab I offered. And I presumed that it fit everyone, right? And it didn't. It was great for what they were purchasing, but people wanted more me. Well, there's only so much of me to go around. So then the second time I launched the lab, I actually launched 3 packages. So you could buy the normal lab at the same price, right? You could buy some access to me, right? Or you could buy like a lot more access to me over the course of like a year. And I had a few people purchase that one because they're like, I need you to help me elevate this thing to the moon, right? And the value I'm getting from those 12 months inside your brain with half-day sessions and private coaching was for them like worth $1 million, right? Because they were able to scale so much faster, which meant they could make money faster, right? So I initially started with one package, which many like sleep coaches do, which many service providers do, but then you pigeonhole yourself to have that being the only package that you sell. Well, if that package doesn't fit my need, then that doesn't work for me, right? So when we start talking about this, you've got to audit and assess, what are you missing in your packages? What do you love selling, my friends? And what do you hate selling? A sleep consultant in the last time we did Level Up Lead Gen said, I hate bedtime support. I never sell that package. And I'm like, well, what package is that? She's like, it's my most expensive. And I was like, so you're shortchanging yourself money because you don't like doing bedtime support. Why are you offering it? I don't know. I just thought I had to. I've been a sleep coach for 10 years. I have a very successful business. I don't offer bedtime support. The only way you're getting it is if you buy my top package, which is $2,000 for 3 weeks. Because you're paying me a premium to interrupt family time, to interrupt my own kids' bedtime, and to deal with the myriad of messages that I'm going to get from you that are really just something that can be managed without messaging, right? Like, but I get that there's a panic sometimes when you're like, what's baby doing? I don't know what to do. I think they have gas, right? So I get that there is a need for that. But if you want that as a part of the other most valuable things I offer, you're going to pay for it, right? Because that's my personal time. That's when I'm out doing things. I'm not staring at my phone. I'm not in my office engaged, right? So this person that mentioned this ended up joining the lab, but she, now is like, how did I not see that? Like I was so miserable and I never sold the package because I hated it and I didn't want to offer it. So when people would ask me, I would just automatically go to the lowest package because that was what worked for me and what I was comfortable selling. Guys, this is your company. You design the packages. You, my friends, are the value. Doesn't matter what you sell, right? I got 3 quotes from somebody to put an HVAC unit in our beach house. They ranged from $8,000 to $14,000. Okay, same unit, small townhouse, nothing crazy, but our HVAC failed this winter. I went to 3 different people, got 3 different quotes. You know the guy I went with? The one that answered his phone, committed to having a proposal to me by that night, and who was in the area. So he just stopped by to check out the situation. And you know what ended up in my mailbox at about 8:30 that night? The proposal. He was not ghastly more expensive than the other guys, but the other guys like didn't answer their phone or didn't send me the proposal when they said they would, or had things in there that weren't necessary. Sometimes just the act of being a human who answers your phone and responds accordingly and sticks to what you say and commits to doing the thing, that's the guy that's going to earn my business. So I may not be the best or the most experienced. He may not be the best or most experienced, but you know what? He earned my business. He showed up 3 days later with a brand new HVAC unit. He let himself into our beach house, so I didn't have to take a day off of work to drive down. Him and his team put the whole thing in, tested it. Then he texted me and said, you have a leak in your sewer pipe, which is awesome. So I would have never saw that because when the hell do I hang out under the house? Had the plumber come fix it, build the homeowners association, killed 2 birds with 1 stone. My brother's going to the beach this weekend with my aunt, and everybody's fat and happy. And I just sent him a client across from us at the townhouse. So not only did he earn my business, he just earned theirs, right? So that's also a part of when you're building your packages, 85% of your clients are coming in on referral, right? 62 to 85% of clients come from referrals. You got to set up a gangbusters offer that you can fulfill and leave them, with the expectation you set at the beginning. I laid in bed last night talking to my husband, and we were talking about just what I offer with the lab and the sleep consultants. And, something came up yesterday that I actually just put a newsletter out about with a client that came back after ghosting us for 5 months and then was expecting to just kick back off. And we're like, I'm sorry, you signed an agreement and the plan is no longer valid. We wrote it for a 9-month-old and they're now 15 months. We don't just sit here waiting for you and we're not going to chase you. So I did make some policy changes with my team to address that going forward, to make sure if somebody's ghosted us, that there is a written email, not a text, that says, please note that at the end of 30 days, this is null and void if we don't kick off, right? Because it is in the terms that they signed, but I was like, I want to be very clear that everything is dotted and crossed, right? Well, my husband said this guy came in to sell us insurance, right? My husband's the CFO of a commercial lumber company. There's about 50 employees. They make millions and millions of dollars a year. It's a very successful construction company, right? So he handles all the finances and he's designated the HR guy too, right? Small company. So those are interesting conversations sometimes, but that's for another session, maybe in the lab. But anyway, the guy came in and said, we offer white glove service. My husband doesn't care about white glove service. Wrong message to the wrong person. He's like, what are you talking about? White glove service for what? Doesn't even make sense. We're a lumber company. These guys out here, I got to drug test them once a month to make sure they're not operating a forklift. Hi. So white glove service to me means you're going to pay our claims when these guys go to the hospital or go to rehab or go to, the dentist or whatever. White glove service means nothing to me. Wrong message. And my husband immediately, I was like, well, did you end up going with him? He's like, no, because he doesn't even understand. He's like, whoever told you to say that is an idiot. So my husband is doesn't mince words, but it was just a very telling, know your audience, right? So it was a very telling, kind of situation for who you're dealing with. You got to look at, guys, too, your packaging and positioning where you're located. Somebody in the Philippines is probably going to want a different type of service than somebody who lives in Midtown Manhattan on the penthouse, right? So you've got to look at the different regions, who you're targeting, the language you're targeting, the offer you're targeting, the mean income you're targeting, right? All of those things obviously have an impact. I launched Sleep Steps. It's $47 a month. It's an amazing sleep coaching program. Videos, course, community, coaching, all the things. Why is it 47 bucks a month? Because no offense, guys, not everybody can afford several $100s to work with us. But you know what? That plan, that program, that package, that community, it is filling a void. Especially for the parents that are in Detroit who choose between co-sleeping and trying to do it safely or putting their baby to bed in a crib, knowing that at 3 a.m. the rats are going to come out and climb in the crib. Real situations for real people here in America, right? So my audience now, I know that some of them are going to want the $2,000 sleep package and some are going to do beautifully with Sleep Steps, which is why I designed it. So you've got to understand when you're packaging and positioning your value, you've got to look at who your market is and who do you want to work with, right? Who do you want to be your client? That's very big to understand. Yes, you're going to niche in, but niche in further, right? Who are you looking for? If you are self-sabotaging through your packages, that's not going to be helpful. Okay. So I want to take you into the slides and show you a little bit about how I went about changing from one package and something I teach in the lab in much more detail for people to do. And then again, if you hang out till the end, I'm going to give you something in Canva that's going to just crush your conversions and you're going to love it. Okay. So let me share my screen. So just give me 1 second to please do that. And then we will just chat away on packages and positioning. So tell me in the comments, or if you're catching this on the replay, I want you to think about like how many packages do you offer today? And are you doing the old school gold, silver, bronze, right? Level 1, level 2, level 3, or you just have a singular package and that's all you're offering, right? I'm always curious because you have so much more that you have the ability to sell because people will buy it. Okay, so let me share here. I'm going to present. Come on. There it is. Okay, perfect. Packaging, positioning, and pricing. All right, my friends, let me move this guy over here and we're going to dive in. So I don't want to look anything like you. Sorry, but I don't. I've said that a couple times this week. Why? Because if I look like you, it is a race to the bottom. Okay. You have to create offers that people look at and go, oh, yes, like the amount of value that I'm going to get from you for this particular package is in total alignment with what we as consumers are looking for. Again, what is their heart desiring? Guys, people aren't necessarily buying on price. They're buying on value. They're buying on desired outcomes, right? Does that person truly believe you can transform their life? Whatever you sell, that's what makes people buy, right? There is financial constraints, so you have to understand that, but you've got to create an offer that when your client looks at what I'm going to give you if you stick around till the end, that they go, yes, I'll take that, right? You don't want to make buying difficult. What do I mean by that? When I first started, I'd be like, oh, you want sleep coaching? Okay, well, we offer private coaching, mini coachings, mini sessions, ask me anything, do all right, well, let me know what you think. And they'd go to my website and there's 40,000 different packages, 10 different people on my team, right? And they have no idea. And you know what they do? An overwhelmed mind buys nothing. It was just too much. And they're like, holy crap, it's difficult to figure out how to work with you, right? And then if I told them what package to buy, I was shortchanging myself, right? Which we'll get to in a minute. Okay. You have to make sure that you're using sales psychology, guys. It's human behavior. I almost wish I was not a finance major in college. I wish I was a psychology major, right? Human psychology is fascinating to me. Okay. But you can use sales psychology to boost your conversions if you have the right formula, which is what I'm teaching you here. Okay. You have to move them to action by making it valuable for them. Okay. and with something that's going to align to their needs, right? A newborn parent, if you're a sleep coach, might want to keep you around for a year, right? Whereas somebody like a fitness instructor, they might sell 4 packages for $600 or whatever, right? Or they can be your weekly trainer for 6 months at a price that's discounted, but you might need that person who's in the gym yelling at you. My best friend goes to the gym and I'm like, why did you hire him? You know how to work out. You've been powerlifting since you were in college playing rugby. Like, it's one of my best friends. She's like, Courtney, because he kicks my butt every day at the gym. He yells in my face. He gets up in my grill. He challenges me, and I leave there exhausted. If I go to the gym without the trainer, I like dilly-dally on the weights, and then I sit in the sauna, and I probably haven't done half the stuff I would have, and nor did I burn the calories. So she's like, I'm fully capable of lifting at the gym by myself. I need somebody to hold me accountable. My sleep clients say that all the time. You hold me accountable. Business coaching, you hold me accountable, right? You're motivating, you're inspiring, right? That's what I want when I work with somebody. And that's what she's paying for at the gym. She knows how to power lift, but she needs that. So that's going to be the offer she chooses, whereas somebody else might just want the workout, right? So package, position, and then properly pricing what you're selling. Confidence, my friends, goes a long way. Okay. When I first started out in the coaching world, I didn't know what I was doing. And I was told, fake it till you make it, right? Kid you not, fake it till you make it, right? Okay. Well, that's great, except like you're only as good as the people around you. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday in the lab about this very topic. She's like, I'm doing some coaching in a different area that's like an employee wellness portal, right? They can book coaching calls. And she's like, the quality of the coaching that these other people are providing is terrible. They are setting these parents up to fail. And I have to go back and redo what they're doing. And everything is so generic. And it's just a terrible thing when the intention of the business was to lift parents up during maternity leave and beyond. But instead, they're finding like way sad in what's being told to them because the people that are providing the information don't know what they're doing, right? Confidence comes, my friends, with experience, with getting rid of imposter syndrome, with educating yourself, with immersing yourself with other people who will lift you up and teach you. Okay. When you get on the phone and you're like, I'm going to do my, yeah, we offer in-home consultations and, I'll be in your house for 12 hours. And then immediately you hang up and you're like, how do you do an in-home? Right. That's going to go terribly. Okay. So you got to figure out how do you build your confidence with that, right? When I first started working with toddlers, I was nervous by them. I didn't have toddlers yet, and I didn't know what I was doing. And I paid somebody who was a consultant to spend an hour with me to teach me about toddlers. And after my first couple, I'm like, this is just behavior. Parents just don't have any boundaries, right? And then all of a sudden I was like, yeah, gangbusters. Okay. And then as I worked with more toddlers, now I'm like, oh my gosh, I love toddlers because they're so fun. And you're really working with little tiny humans who are just trying to figure out how they can push the buttons, right? But the confidence comes in the way in which whatever it is you're selling, you come across confidently. You have to be confident in your packages. You have to be confident in your pricing. You have to be confident in your ability to get them to success, right? And you need to create an offer that looks nothing like anyone else. Because if your offer looks the same as everybody else, it's a race to the bottom. Well, how are you different? We talked about it Monday. It's your value. What is in your brain? Right? There's hundreds of sleep coaches, thousands of sleep coaches now, right? I am like none of them, right? Why? Well, because of all this myriad of things that I do differently, right? I'm not like other business coaches. Why? Because they charge you $500 a month or $1,000 a month, and they either get people to come in and deliver the message because they don't know how to teach it. They don't actually know what they're doing. It's a high ticket coaching operation. I told you the other day, I hired a business coach, never talked to her once. I was so pissed at the end of $24,000 because it was just this like bait and switch, right? I'm confident in what I teach and I'm confident in it transforming your business, right? The power of you selling whatever you sell is confidence, my friends. Okay. But you got to look at like why, before we get into pricing, why you want to sell certain packages. Why'd you get into the business, right? 7 things, not 10, because that's too many, and not 5, right? But like there's generally kind of reasons. I wanted more financial freedom. I wanted flexibility in the summers. I wanted to be able to move to Singapore and sit on the beach. Whatever the reason is, you got to sit and understand why you started the business. And then you got to figure out how many days you want to work in the recordings of this and out in the Facebook group and in the newsletters, right? Like my template for time blocking is there for a reason. How many hours can you work, and does that match how much money you want to make? Right? I had a goal last year. The number isn't important. I asked my husband to give me the goal because I want a hot tub. He does not. We have a pool and we have a beach house. Okay. We don't really need a hot tub. Problem is, I want a hot tub. I'm freezing cold all the time. I want to be able to sit in said hot tub in the winter and relax, because I don't relax. I work a lot all the time. So for me, I'm like, I want a hot tub, but I'm never going to get him to agree to this. Could we go buy one tomorrow? Sure. Will we? No. Why? Because he doesn't want one. I do. So I was like, let me do this. Let me set a goal. Tell me a number I need to reach to get the hot tub. Okay. He gave me the number, and it was a stretch goal, but it was feasible, my friends. I missed it by, I don't know, maybe 20 grand. Right. And I was like, oh, and he's like, I hope you miss it by 500 bucks. Right. Like he really doesn't want me to get the hot tub, but it helps me to be motivated. I'm not doing this for the money. I do this for the joy that I bring to people, to parents, to coaches, to the homeless shelter I cook for, to the school, to the neighborhood that I donate the front entrance for. Like my life is not about money anymore, my friends. It's about joy. Right. But I have to pay my bills. I do have a mortgage and a beach house, right? Like I just got a Volvo I got to pay for. Like, I'm not living a lavish lifestyle, but I got needs, but I'm not motivated by that. I'm motivated by getting that hot tub, right? Because that's what I want. Okay. You got to figure out, like, what's your annual income goal? Is it to get one client a month? Is it a side hustle? Is it to retire your spouse? Is it to retire early? Like, you got to figure out what that looks like for you. Okay. Everything that we sell is rooted in psychology, right? So I want you to look at this for a second and understand when people are buying offers, there's typically 3 packages. And when you have 3 packages, statistically speaking, they are selling 5% of the time your cheapest offer. Are you selling your cheapest offer only 5% of the time, or is that the one you're leading with? Right? Is that the first one you say because you think people will never pay for the other packages? I'll explain why you don't want to do that. Okay. What do you want to sell 85% of the time? That's your middle tier. People go for the middle. Sales psychology. You don't want to be the cheapest, but you don't need the most expensive because you're frugal and you're like, I don't need that. I don't have to do that. Right? Like we constantly beat ourselves up in our own minds. Doesn't matter what it is that you're selling, right? People have preconceived ideas about not splurging on the extra sugar scrub for the pedicure, right? Give me the sugar scrub. I need the sugar scrub. Yes, I'll take the sugar scrub, please, for the extra $10 because I never get my legs sugar scrubbed and I want the pedicure, right? I get upsold when I get my pedicure, which is like twice a year. Otherwise, I do it myself. But you know what I mean? Like, I value the scrub. Scrub me. I'll buy the package at the top. It's an extra $10 or whatever, right? Sugar scrub the shit out of my legs. That's great. Okay. What do you want to sell 10% of the time? Okay. Now it's interesting because this psychology I learned from someone who's deep in sales a couple of years ago, but it's actually been different statistics for my sleep coaching business. I sell more top packages now than I ever do the bottom package, which is crazy because here it's saying I should be selling the middle package 85% of the time. But I've built so much value in my top packages that people want to buy that because they value me. Okay. So hopefully this is making sense. Now, they did a study with sommeliers. Okay. They are the fancy people that know everything about wine. It's impossible to become a sommelier. My friend's brother did it painstakingly after like 5 years. He's a sommelier in Alaska, which is interesting. In Anchorage, which they do drink a lot up there, but he's a sommelier. Anyway, it's the highest level you can achieve as a wine person. And so they did a blind taste test. It's a study. You can Google it. And they basically said, who can taste this wine, right? So they gave people the cheap wine and they were like, hey, this cheap wine was $5 a bottle. Oh, gross, oaky, cork, bitter, whatever, right? Too much sugar. So because they knew that it was the cheap wine, none of them liked it. None of them ranked it as one that they would pick, right? Then they knew that this particular glass was the most expensive wine. It's oaked from 1967, blah, 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 barrel raised in a cave in France, right? Every sommelier, guess what they did? The best wine ever, right? Then they did a blind test and they had one guy that fell in the middle. That one's all right. Okay, so they ranked the wines as the experts based on the price of the bottle. And sure enough, the most expensive to them tasted the best. Then they did a blind test. So they grabbed 3 different styles of wine, right? They maybe started with Cabernet and then they went to like Sauvignon Blanc, right? Well, with the Sauvignon Blanc taste test, what they did was they said, all right, we have 3 different levels, same, cheap, middle, most expensive, but we're not going to tell you which is which. And they set 3 glasses that all look exactly the same in front of each of these sommeliers. And the sommeliers tasted the wines. You know which one all 3 of them picked as the top? $2 Chuck, right? Some cheap $5 bottle of wine. Because they didn't know that that was the cheap one. They went solely off of the taste, which to them for their job is value, right? Everything is in the taste as a sommelier. So it's interesting, friends, like when you are thinking about whatever it is you sell, you've got to know your market. What are they looking for? For sleep coaching, they want access to a coach. They want retainer coaching for sleep regressions and all this other stuff. They want maybe guidance when they're traveling. They want help with a sleep regression or daylight savings, but mostly it's not about the amount of crap you can pile up in your listing. It's about what they value. You know what they value? Me, my team. You know what the lab people value? Me, my brain. You know what you guys value every time you watch Level Up Lead Gen? Me, because I don't script anything. I'm just teaching from my heart. And every time it's different. So you gain something every time I do it, right? Debbie is in the lab, and she's probably heard me say this like 45,000 times. We speak about pricing, we talk about pricing, we talk about packaging and positioning. And she's listening in today, which I always welcome people to do this, even to get a reboot, right? A lot of people that are re-listening to this are in the lab because I always teach something different, right? And you're always picking up something different. So what you've got to look at is like the psychology of what you're selling. And here's the other problem, right? With the same sommelier. So it's like a big study. They had a wine list. All right, well, you're at a restaurant, right? And you're reading the wine list. How is the wine typically priced? Pay attention the next time you go get, Sullivan's or hit a fancy restaurant for dinner. Take a look at the bottles and how they rank them. Typically, they're ranked by type of grape or whatever. I'm not a wine girl, right? But they're typically ranked by like red, white, sparkling, rosé. And then they're ranked by price, $7, $27, right? What they found was that the sommeliers who were ordering the wine for the restaurant, if they changed the order and made the most expensive bottle at the top of the list and then the cheapest at the bottom, people bought more expensive wines, right? They ordered more as the sommelier who was bringing the wine into the restaurant. But the people who were purchasing also bought more expensive wine, right? Why? Psychology. If you're on the phone with a client, you're like, buy my cheap package, it's $200. Because you don't think they're going to buy the $800 package. You don't know who the heck you're working with, right? I would have spent $1 million to get sleep help, right? Just depends. I put a corporate coaching deal out for business consulting the other day. And I was like, okay, this much. And they're like, done. Where do we sign? I'm like, yes, right? You just never know. But I have confidence that what I'm selling is worth the value of that thing, right? When you go out on a sales call, I never talk about pricing, ever on a sales call. Debbie just heard a couple of my sales calls. I'd actually be curious of your feedback, Debbie, because you just listened to it like 2 weeks ago and you had said like, hey, this was interesting. Like what just coming into the lab and then now being a part of the lab and listening to this again today for probably like the 3rd time, what resonates with you differently based on how I just do my sales calls for sleep coaching?
Yeah, I love the flow of your sales coach, yeah, your sales coaching calls. Just to really connect with a potential client and how you kind of walk them through and have them feel validated, seen, and supported even in that moment. And so I think for so many parents, they just don't feel that way and they just feel so overwhelmed. So it's kind of like a ray of sunshine for them to feel like, oh wow, like somebody is, taking this time to really understand where we are and helping us move forward in a way that's, appropriate and you know matching our parenting philosophies and all of that, which is so super important. But I just love the way you organically take them through that, and it really doesn't sound salesy at all. It just sounds like you're connecting with someone, and you know your confidence in yourself and your business really shines through in that, hey, I'm here, if you want to work with me, wonderful. But it's not like, okay, how can we close the deal kind of thing. You're just providing yourself. Here's who I am. Here's how I can help you in this situation that you're in, and you know, reach out if you need me. And I love that. It's very I don't like buying new cars because I cannot handle the sales guy, right? Because there's just this motive, and it's just like I feel like I can't breathe. And so how you're approaching it just sounds like, okay, here's me, here's how I work. I'll send you information. I'd love to work with you. Reach out if you'd like. And it's just, when listening to your replay, it just sounds so just stress-free. It's just very organic and natural, which is beautiful.
Well, and I totally appreciate that because it took me like a long time to get there, right? And I think it comes with confidence, right? But I think it also is just that you're going to be sold to, right? So I think people, whatever you're buying, is it an HVAC unit? Is it 74,000 trees for a new house you're building from a lumber guy, right? Is it a sleep coach, right? People just go too quick to like try to sell you something. We all know you're going to sell something. I'm teaching you guys for free for 8 days. Yeah, I'm going to talk to you about the lab. Do I hope you join? Absolutely. Do I need you to join? No, I want you to join. I want to change your business, right? So yes, I'm going to sell you something, but it's your choice whether you want it or not, right? And I approach it like that with my sleep clients too, because they know it's coming and they're just sitting there the whole time waiting on the call, like go for the jugular, right?
Right.
It's like, I don't do that. I don't talk about pricing. And if I do talk about a package, that's the package they end up buying. And you don't want to do that, guys. You don't want to do that. And I'll tell you why. Because whatever you tell them to buy is what they're going to buy when they might have actually bought the $2,000 package. I don't tell people what to buy because I don't know anything about them, right? I don't know anything about their financial situation. Maybe grandma's so sick of seeing you miserable, she's covering the cost. So you're like, hell yeah, I'll go for the 2 grand, right? Like you don't know anything about somebody other than you get 15 to 30 minutes on the phone with them to understand where they are, right? And how badly it's impacting their life and how much value they would have by getting whatever the thing is that you sell. So when I leave a call, I share a document, and that's what I'm going to share with you guys at the end of this call so that you can take it and you can use it as inspiration for building something in your own business so that you can have success. I am all about sharing my knowledge and tools with you through the lab. Like I want you guys to succeed. And it has transformed things because it made the sale easier. Here's why. They weren't overwhelmed. If you're on the phone and you're like, well, we have mini sessions, they're 45 and 50 and 30. We have the sleep steps program. We have the lab, or not the lab, the sleep coaching, but inside the sleep coaching, we also have 3 levels of coaching. We have 2 different types of coaches. That's 9 packages. And then if you want retainer, like at the end of the call, they're like, what do you sell? What do I need? You know what I mean? It's like they get off the phone. They're like, I'm so tired and I have no idea what she was talking about, right? You lose them. Let me tell you how this works. All of our base packages are built exactly the same so that at the end of 3 weeks, I can commit to you better sleep. Every client has different needs based on the age and stage that you're in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you this document. I call it my what to expect. It's going to talk about how, when you engage with Tiny Transitions, what it looks like, the different offers we have based on the age and stage, and how much support you want, because we recognize every family is different. How does that sound? Great. Okay. I'll send that over. You have a look. Let me explain how we get started. I book on a first come, first serve basis, and I only book 2 weeks out. So if you're planning to start, the sooner you decide to commit, the sooner we can start. Do you have any questions about how we work together? What's going on? Blah, 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 blah. Do you teach Cry It Out? No. I take 10 minutes to explain that. And then I thank them. I share the information after the call, as I said I would. And that's it. And then I wait to hear from them. I maybe follow up in 2 days or so, give them a chance to read it, recognize they're chasing their 3-year-old around the house and they have a newborn. And I say, hey, just following up. I wanted to share something else that I created for you. This is a blah, 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 right? Daylight savings coming up. Here's a sheet. Hey, here's a sample schedule. Oh, hey, here's a packing list. You mentioned on our sales call you were going to be going away. I wanted to make sure you had this. If you decide you want to move forward, just let me know. I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks. That's it. No, are you ready to buy? Let's get started. Let me crowbar you in. How's sleep? Right? Helpful, valuable relationships, conversions. Right? People overcomplicate sales. They make it seem yucky or gross, right? It doesn't have to be at all. I was talking the other day, if you listen to the replays, I talked about building value in the freebies on Tuesday. If you didn't listen to that one, go back and listen, because there was a tactic I talked about. Instead of being the awkward creeper in Facebook, I told you, and I'm going to make you go back and listen, what I do to give them the value of the information, but to also help my SEO, to drive them to the site, and to get a whole bunch of people looking at it, right? It's a very simple thing. So you're not the creepy person who's like, I'm a sleep coach. Like I see it in the mainline parent community here. There's a bunch of sleep coaches from all different, certifications. They're like, I'm a sleep coach. I can help you. I'm a sleep coach. I can help you. Like, and they're all just like pawning for business. And it looks terrible. And it sounds desperate. Here's a link to something I wrote on that. If you'd like to reach out, here's my email. Thanks. That's it.
Courtney, one thing I'd like to add is, I think for me doing this for so long, coming into the lab was really helpful for me, even after those years of doing this, because, the industry has changed. I mean, there's so many more sleep consultants now, and, it's not regulated, so that's difficult, but, parents now more than ever are shopping around, no different than what you did for your air conditioner. So, you have an opportunity to show yourself on this call. And, a couple of parents have told me, since I've kind of switched to the way you've kind of mentored and shown us in the lab, wow, this is really kind of a breath of fresh air, because no one really has asked us those questions on this call, like to get to know us and what our specific needs are, or our specific philosophies are, and how that matches. So, this is where we are now in this business, right? Like, you have to figure out how you're going to elevate and how you're going to rise above all of that. And that's what this lab has brought for me. It's just changed my business for sure. So, it's something that, we can't just rely on those other things anymore. It's not going to work. And yeah, that's why so many people are kind of in that desperate space of Facebooking and attacking people, and, versus people seeking you out because of what you're offering and how you're building your business to be. So there's a very big difference there. But kudos to you, because that's what you've taught us and inspired us to do. So, so grateful.
Oh, thanks. Guys, I really do love doing this. So it's just different, right? Do it different, do it better. Like you were probably given a script when you became a coach, right? Doesn't matter where. Here's your sales script. first do this, then do this, then do this, then do this. Do you think people don't know you're reading from a script? Like, nobody wants to talk to you. Sorry, go Obama on me. Da, 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 da. It's like, that's not helpful. Not helpful at all. People want to buy from people. What you sell is ancillary. People want to buy from people, right? And so it's just a balance of how you do it, right? So one of the things that I'm going to share with you guys is what is called my what to expect document. Okay, so if you hang on till the end, I'm going to flip it over. And it is going to be a document that helps you to look at your offers for whatever it is that you sell and package them differently, right? My most expensive package is first on my website, then the middle, then the cheapest. Sales psychology, right? When I launched the lab, I wanted to do it different, right? I had paid the business coaches. And I'm like, you get all this stuff. And then at the end of $24,000, I'm like, I never got to talk to you, right? We have a community in the lab. Yes, you get the intake and the private kickoff. So I know your business because it helps me to learn what can I build in the lab to help you individually inside of the lab, which is a group type program. And I'm going to teach you more about anything in the lab, right? Than any other business coach, because I actually know how to do it all. I'm not just taking what I learned at some conference and regurgitating it or bringing in the expert. I'm the expert. It's in my head, right? So when I designed the lab, this was what the first year looked like, right? 6 months of coaching, a ton of amazing content, group community, like all this different stuff. But then I realized people wanted me, right? So this is still how the lab sits today. You get so much, but then there's a one-on-one aspect to it now. Some people wanted me, they needed help doing their automation campaign or their nurtures or their SEO or their website or whatever. And they're like, we need you one-on-one because our business is different. We're in a different place. I work with Debbie one-on-one. She's in a different place than maybe somebody who's just getting started, who frankly, this works beautiful for. She wanted more one-on-one. Everybody's in a different spot, but if I only had this package, I missed out on being able to truly change Debbie's life business-wise. You see, so right now I have my all things in the lab, and then I have the lab plus the coaching. And then I do VIP days. I do all these different things that are other ways to work. And then the roadmap. Like when I work with somebody or talk to somebody about joining the lab, here's what I send them. These are all the modules that are in the lab. And that's not even part of it, right? Like there's a whole ton of content. Just last night, somebody's like, can you make a video on how to embed a video inside of a newsletter? I'm like, sure, that'll be next week's tactical tip, right? So it's like, you're getting all of this, but then you're also getting the weekly stuff so that at the end of the program, you actually have real results, right? And so what I want you to do for homework first is you got to do your power pricing assessment. You got to figure out like what packages you sell and you got to reevaluate your content, my friends. Okay. Because this is what I'm going to share. Okay. So this is a sample of our what to expect document. It's 8 pages of like, what do we sell? Who are we? What are our offerings? Right? We've got all these different ways to engage. A little bit of a quote, right? People like quotes. They want to know that I know what I'm doing. And then every single quarter, guys, we change our packages. What's working? What's not? What are we missing? What's the market saying we're doing? Right? Private coaching with one of the members of my team, right? Private coaching with one of the members of my team that's longer, more duration, right? A la carte options. Some people want that. You want me to come in home or do a virtual? It's $2,000 on top of coaching. Why? Because I value my sleep. So I've built my packages around the brand I've built, which is one of the top sleep consultants in the country, best in class sleep coaching. And I stand by my word and what we do. And I guarantee we're going to get there with your commitment, right? So this document is something that is super helpful and I'll put the Canva link in there for you out in Facebook. Okay. Because I realized I pulled down this one, not the Canva one doesn't have like, it's a little more generic for you guys, not just the Tiny Transitions one, but that is what you have to look at, right? And so when you're on this journey, I just want you to understand you've got to do things different because if you keep doing everything the same, nothing's going to change in your business, right? And you have to figure out where you are and what steps are going to help you to take your business to the next level, right? The lab is here. It is open enrollment now, which is awesome. You can join the lab when it makes sense for you. If at some point you determine then that's going to be the best path of success for you in your business, right? So it used to be that you could just join, at this particular time or this particular time. Now it's open. You can join. We have weekly calls. We're always doing extra sessions and all kinds of cool stuff. The portal's there. You've got all the information. And then every week, new content that I'm putting out, right? I'm invested in your business and I want you to be successful. So there's options with that. And then when I do this, I always offer something fun, but it's limited, right? For people that book by next Wednesday, which is the last night of this session, you will get $500 off joining the lab, any package, right? And anybody that books by Friday night, March 1st, tomorrow night, you will also get a deep dive SEO strategy and content audit for content curation for a whole year, right? See what your competitors are doing and figure out how to beat them. Because if you're just fumbling around for the next 3 years, you're going to be in the same spot you were 3 years from now. And then you're going to go, oh, I should have joined, right? I'm here when you're ready, right? We're talking tomorrow. We're talking Monday. We're talking Tuesday, and we're talking on Wednesday. So you've got to sit down. You've got plenty of time. I used to do things over the weekend, and I'm not anymore. You have the whole weekend to catch up. You can dive into this module, go back and listen to the others. Tomorrow, we're talking about money and mindset because so many of you have money blocks that I can't possibly charge that much, or is there enough value in this? I feel like an imposter, right? You have to be confident in what you're selling, my friends. Doesn't matter what your package looks like, you're not going to sell any of them. So hopefully you can jump out tomorrow and join us for the money and mindset session. All the recordings are available for you. We're going to send the recordings out for this session in just a little bit once Zoom has a chance to do its thing. And I just invite you, if you're interested in learning about the lab, reach out. I'm here. If you're interested, great. If it's not the right time, I get it. But I'm here to help you when it is, because at some point, it's going to be a good investment. Okay. So I am going to pop out the link in just a second. I'm going to pull it down off Canva so I can get you guys the right link because you joined live. And then I'm going to tell anybody who watches on the replay, if you got to the end and you're getting this message, let me know. And then I'll send you the guide too. See how I did that? Ah, all right. Business is fun, my friends. Have fun in your business. I'm going to pop this out here. And if anybody needs anything, you just let me know. And thank you, Debbie, for coming on. And for Mrs. Ashika, do you have any questions, Ashika, before we close up and while I go out and pull out the what to expect here? No? Okay. Let me grab this one. We got the English one. We got the Spanish one. Okay. All right, guys, give me just a second here. I should have had it opened, but there we go. I'll edit the dead silence out of the replay. Okay, there it is. So here's a link for that. Oh my gosh, don't text and drive. Okay, I'm going to put the link in there for Canva. Should allow you guys to kind of take a peek at that and just see what we're doing. And I hope you all have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow for Money and Mindset.